It's almost near midnight when I work in the office. Little by little, my body going to bad and feel pain in my heart. Little by little, I could not breathe. Finally, I fall down. But employee also, they so busy. They could not take care about me. Just go home. You can go home.
What if working too hard could literally kill you? In Japan, it can, and it does. Every single day, 1,304 people. That's how many deaths and severe disorders from overwork Japan officially recognized in 2024 alone, a record high. But here's the terrifying reality behind that number. Experts estimate the actual toll reaches 10,000 deaths annually. Welcome to the hidden epidemic of Karoshi, death from overwork.
Japanese society is everybody go running same way.
They cannot see the outside, living in a very closed, very small world. Only working is existing 19 hours or sometimes it's over 24 hours.
Around 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. I just pick up a taxi and going back to my home and sleeping 30 minutes or 1 hour, then going back. Sometimes I had a nap in the bathroom so that I could not be found by my boss or colleagues.
Walk through Tokyo's gleaming business districts at dawn, Marunouchi, Shiodome, Roppongi Hills. Glass towers stretch toward the sky, their LED displays painting the morning in corporate blues and whites. Salarymen in pressed suits bow politely at train stations. Everything appears orderly, efficient, successful, but peer closer. Look at their faces on the 7:30 a.m. Tozai line, Tokyo's most congested train at 184% capacity. White-gloved station staff physically push passengers into cars like human cargo. In the crushing silence of the Sushizume, passengers squeezed like sushi on a tray. You'll see something else entirely. Exhaustion, defeat, the walking dead.
終電ぐらいまでって言えばいいですかね。自分も今コロナがあるので、それで働いて、業績が悪くなって、そこのために、家族のために働いて。もう、ですね。プレッシャー、あれは上司が悪かったな。奴隷のような感じになってましたね。逃げればよかったのにっていうので。弁護士は自殺率が高いです。友人がもう2人ほど自殺してます。
The statistics paint a devastating picture of a nation working itself to death. 883 cases of work-related mental health disorders were officially recognized in 2024, the first time that number exceeded 1,000. But mental health now represents 80% of all Karoshi cases, a seismic shift from the cardiovascular deaths that once defined this crisis. 159 hours of overtime in a single month. That was Miwa Sado's final month alive. The 31-year-old NHK reporter collapsed from congestive heart failure at home, her cell phone still clutched in her hand. 10.1% of Japanese men work over 60 hours per week. That's nearly double a full-time job. For comparison, the Karoshi line, the threshold where death becomes likely, sits at just 80 hours of overtime monthly. Yet 1 in 10 Japanese men routinely exceed that danger zone. The economic cost? Several billion yen annually in direct compensation payments alone. But the true price, lost productivity, shattered families, a generation sacrificing their lives for corporate profits, remains incalculable. Christmas Day, 2015. While families across Japan celebrated, Matsuri Takahashi stood on the roof of her company dormitory in Shiodome. The 24-year-old had been working at Japan's largest advertising agency for less than a year. Her final Twitter posts tell the story. I've lost all emotion except the urge to sleep. After I've been at work for around 20 hours in a day, I start to laugh and realize I don't know what I'm living for. Matsuri's daily routine had become a living nightmare. Arrive at the boomerang-shaped Dentsu building by 8 a.m., work until 2 a.m., maybe 4 a.m., sleep at her desk or catch a few hours at the company dormitory. Return by 8 a.m., repeat. 105 hours of official overtime monthly. But electronic gate records showed 130 actual hours, nearly 4 hours of unpaid labor every single day. The financial cost to her life was paradoxical. Despite earning a prestigious salary, Matsuri paid with everything that made life worth living. She broke up with her boyfriend, citing work stress, stopped visiting her parents, abandoned her dreams of travel and photography. The price of keeping her job was losing her life. Her supervisors subjected her to sexist harassment, mocking her for lacking femininity while demanding she falsify her timesheet to hide actual working hours. When she finally left the building for the last time, Matsuri texted, "Work and life are so painful. Thanks for everything." The company's response? Dentsu paid a $5,000 fine despite recording $1.3 billion in annual profits. September 2023. The Glittering World of Takarazuka Revue, Japan's legendary all-female musical theater, concealed a brutal reality. A 25-year-old actress had been working 437 total hours per month. That's 14.5 hours every single day with no breaks. 277 hours of overtime monthly, nearly triple the Karoshi line. Her daily schedule resembled military training more than artistic performance. Early morning rehearsals, afternoon costume fittings, evening performances, late-night training sessions for junior members she was forced to supervise. Sleep became a luxury rationed in 2 to 3 hour increments. The harassment was physical and psychological. Senior members burned her forehead with a hair iron, berated her for mistakes made by trainees under her care, made her responsible for maintaining the impossible standards of an institution built on suffering disguised as discipline. The financial paradox was crushing. Despite performing for sold-out audiences and maintaining Japan's most prestigious theatrical tradition, her compensation couldn't cover the cost of her destroyed health, severed relationships, and stolen youth. Her family now disputes the company's internal investigation, claiming it minimized the true extent of her working hours and abuse. The company chairman resigned, but the show, as they say, must go on. Here's why those 1,304 official cases represent only the tip of an iceberg. Japan's reporting system is designed to hide the truth. Service zangyu, unpaid overtime, remains illegal but culturally mandatory. Workers routinely log 350 hours of unpaid labor annually. Managers instruct employees to underreport hours. Don't exceed the legal limits on paper, they're told, but the work still needs to be done. The recognition process itself creates barriers. Only 21% of brain and heart disease claims get approved, 25% for mental health cases. Families must prove their loved one's death resulted directly from work, a nearly impossible burden while grieving. Cultural shame compounds bureaucratic failure. The traditional concept of gammon, enduring suffering with dignity, teaches workers to bear pain silently rather than seek help. Between 1988 and 1990, the Karoshi hotline received 1,806 calls. Most weren't from workers themselves, but from their wives, watching their husbands literally work toward death. Hiroshi Kawahito, the lawyer who's handled around 1,000 Karoshi cases over 45 years, sees the pattern clearly. Despite repeated efforts by the Japanese government to combat suicide rates, I have not identified a significant change in the number of cases. The Work Style Reform Act of 2018 capped overtime at 100 hours monthly, still above the deadly threshold. Premium Friday encouraged 3 p.m. departures once monthly. The program became a national joke. By 2024, only 11% of companies participated. Step into the Dentsu building's 48 floors tonight. Boomerang-shaped glass curves overlook Hamarikyu Gardens, but inside, harsh fluorescent lights wash over endless rows of identical desks. No cubicles, no privacy. Just 6,000 employees visible to their managers at all times. Walk the streets of Marunouchi at 2 a.m. Over 56,000 convenience stores glow like beacons across Japan, their warm LED lights the only comfort for workers stumbling home. Foreign employees, up to 90% of night shift workers in some Tokyo locations, serve energy drinks and heated bentos to the army of the exhausted. The trains tell their own story. Rush hour on the Yamanote line moves 3.6 million passengers daily through Shinjuku Station alone. But it's the silence that strikes you. Despite crushing crowds, commuters maintain perfect quiet, the sound of a nation enduring. In Shiodome, the geometric lighting patterns of modern towers create an urban constellation. But for every lit window at midnight, there's someone inside choosing between sleep and survival, choosing between life and keeping their job. The nature of Karoshi is changing, but not disappearing. Mental health cases now outnumber cardiovascular deaths, suggesting the crisis has evolved from physical exhaustion to psychological destruction. Women now represent 20% of cases, up from nearly zero historically. The stereotype of the middle-aged male salaryman is cracking. Young people, women, service workers, no one is immune. Some companies are trying. Toyota limits overtime to 360 hours annually and sends hourly reminders after 7 p.m. urging workers to go home. Panasonic offered a 4-day work week to 63,000 employees. Only 150 opted in. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government will implement a 4-day work week in April 2025. But only 8% of Japanese companies currently allow 3 or more days off weekly. Professor Hiroshi Ono of Hitotsubashi University captures the challenge. I think that it's going to take time to penetrate. We're not used to being flexible. Japan's work culture crisis reflects a deeper tension between individual humanity and collective demands, between traditional values of endurance and modern needs for mental health, between economic success and human survival. The numbers we opened with: 1,304 official deaths, 10,000 estimated actual deaths, aren't just statistics. They're daughters like Matsuri, sons like the construction workers, mothers like Miwa, artists like the Takarazuka performer. Each number represents someone who believed their work was more important than their life, someone who chose corporate loyalty over personal survival. But here's what the system doesn't want you to know: their sacrifice wasn't necessary. Other developed nations achieve economic success without killing their workforce. Sweden reported 770 work-related deaths in 2019, but actively studies and addresses the problem rather than hiding it. Japan stands alone in officially tracking Karoshi. That transparency could be the beginning of real change. If the nation chooses to face the truth its own data reveals. The question isn't whether Japan can afford to change its work culture. The question is whether it can afford not to, because behind every statistic is a human being. Behind every case number is a family destroyed. Behind every corporate profit margin is a life that could have been lived differently. Matsuri Takahashi's mother, Yukimi, speaks at schools and symposiums now. Her message is simple: there is no work more important than your life. The choice is ours to make. The data is clear. The stories are told. The system is exposed. What we do with that knowledge will determine whether the next generation of workers lives to see the change they deserve.
Even when I finish the 11 p.m., I will get on the train again for 1 hour. But the situation is the same as the morning. All of us feel the stress. No one is waiting for me. The room is dark, just sleeping without having dinner, and continue keeping the same day from next day.